Alright, so we're good to go on Facebook, we're good to go on Twitch. And how's it going, everybody? My name is Dr. Weeze, and thanks for tuning into my channels. Give me 1 second, I am just trying to find the scene selector because it's been such a long time since I've actually done this. I've lost my way around the software. Alright, so let me quickly switch between the scenes here. And okay, so I've got some new screens as well, so just not getting through to all of them, and I see my face is not showing up on the screen because my camera's gone to sleep mode. 1 second. Alright, there we go. So you should be able to see my ugly face in a couple of seconds. So hello, hello, hello. Transition across to live. Alright, there we go. Hey everyone. So again, my name is Dr. Weeze, and thanks for tuning in to what I hope is going to be quite an interesting stream. What I've got on the bench table today is the ROG G703GI. That is a gaming laptop from the Republic of Gamers, and let's just give you a quick glimpse of what it is actually looking like at the moment, because you probably won't recognize it if you saw it on my workbench. Right, so I've got the G703. I've been working on a video regarding this laptop for the last 3 weeks, doing some recordings and backwards and forwards. So I'm done with all those recordings. So now what I want to do is I just want to go through and run some benchmarks on what I didn't cover in the video. So in the video I did Cinebench R15 and XTU and a couple of others, but I want to just get all my gold cups, right? While you got the hardware on the workbench, it's best to just get through it all. So I seem to be having some technical glitches with my main camera. It seems to want to always go into sleep mode, so I'm gonna have to sort that out. So we're probably going to be on and off with that for a while, but it doesn't matter. We'll most carry on and do what we can do. So the first thing I need to do is I need to go ahead and just clean up here from the last session. There's a little bit of thermal paste on here still, and then I'll go ahead and remount and get some more LN2 out, and then we can start running through the benchmarks. So what can I tell you about the G703? Well, it's got a Core i9 processor in it. That's the Extreme processor, Extreme series. It comes factory overclocked to 4.8G, and yeah, it's a really nice little laptop. It's got a 144 megahertz IPS screen, which we don't use because we needed access to the CPU and the GPU. As far as preparation is concerned, all I've really done here is put a little bit of red tape just to protect, because we don't have actually physical mounts, it's just to protect the die a bit, to make sure I also get a nice even mount. And yeah, obviously we've taken off the back shroud and all that sort of hoo-ha. This little bit over here is the Core i9 processor, and then this one over here is your 1080 GeForce GTX 1080. So at a later stage I will also want to cool that with liquid nitrogen and run some more 3D benchmarks, but I am a little bit low on nitrogen, so today we're just going to see what benchmarks we can do on the CPU. So I'm going to go ahead and just get a little bit of thermal grizzly cryonaught on that, if I can find it. Here it is, right here. And we're just going to go ahead and get these pots on and get some nitrogen. So the session today will probably be about 30 minutes to an hour, if we've got enough nitrogen to go that long. We've got to watch out for condensation. I haven't prepared the motherboard with Vaseline or anything to that effect. We won't be running temperatures at the extreme end of liquid nitrogen. We'll really only be running the pot, at around -10, if even that much, just below the condensation point, the dew point. And then the processor actually will be up sort of around 40 degrees internally. And yeah, it's all very fun, and it's not very fun in games. It is fun in games. We are limited to what we can do It is a laptop after all. We don't have the same control that one would have with a normal Core i9 processor. I was a little bit disappointed with what I could push it to be honest. It's no disappointment of the board itself, it's a disappointment of it is a laptop. It's not designed to do what I want to do with it, right? So you don't have the tools. So let's just go through some of the quick things on the stream. Okay, so just to let you know, I am streaming on multiple platforms. So I'm on Facebook, I am on YouTube, and I am on Twitch all at the same time. So we try and monitor the feed on Twitch. So come and say hi there if you want to ask any questions. I do want to do a little bit of Q&A on this, and we'll take it from there. So thanks for tuning in, George. I see you say it's a bit quiet. Is that the overall volume? I will try and tweak that up a little bit. Just give me a second, because we did change a whole lot of stuff there for the recordings. So I'll turn that up here a little bit. Is that a little bit better? I don't want it to peak and I don't want it to sound nasty. So let me know if that does it. Okay, and just have a look here. Okay, we've got 3 viewers tuned in. I don't see the chat. Okay, there we go. A lot better. Right. Okay. So I've got now in Streamlabs, I've got the chat open as well, so I can see everything from the dashboard. I see my accountant's trying to phone me, but he can wait until tomorrow. Okay, so let's just close that. Alrighty, right. So if you guys want me to go over anything that I've discovered so far with this laptop, just drop a question there, and yeah, we can go from there. So let me get back to what I was saying. So I am on all the, I do broadcast to all the platforms at the same time. I do have a new camera, which is now going into sleep mode. That's why you'll see that over here it's turning off until I actually go and push the button. And it's just a setting I need to go and toggle, which obviously it's the first time I'm live streaming with this camera. I don't feel like doing it now. So you'll just lose my ugly face every now and again. The main thing is obviously this view here, and then we're going to switch across to once we got switched on. What I do need to say is when you're booting during post, there is no video, and I can't see the video either. And when you get a blue screen, I can't see if it is a blue screen unless I actually go and look at the main screen of the laptop. So it is a little bit difficult sometimes, and you'll just have to bear with me. I hope I don't show any plumbers' butts or anything on the camera. It's a bit embarrassing, but anyway, you guys can have a good laugh if that happens. So because we're not mounting, it is quite difficult to get a good mount in here. You can feel it when you've got a good mount. It swivels evenly and not unevenly. For the VGA, I'm just putting a pot on so that I can control the temperature around 25 degrees. We're not going to waste nitrogen on there today. It's really just about, like, I was thinking Cinebench. I've got this the HW bot open here, so I'm thinking like CPU frequency we can try. PowerFast is a quick easy one, 1M, 32M maybe. 32M might take a little bit too long. Not too really interested in that. We're just going to bang through these benchmarks. Some of these benchmarks don't even have scores submitted, so it's just a quick gold cup, quick 2 points. The ones that were more difficult I've already cracked. So Cinebench R15, I've already got the gold cup in there during my pre-testing. It's the same with XTU. I've already got the gold cup in that one. So we can get it switched on and we can get cracking. First thing we need is a bit of nitrogen. So George, your comment about the mirror on the floor, I did think about that. But what came to mind was over-engineering for a solution where I can just bend over and have a look-see. So I estimate we've only got, pouring out there now, we've only got a small amount of nitrogen. So we'll get maybe a couple of benchmarks done. So I want to pull it up on the screen so I can explain to you as I'm going here. Right, so if we have a look at the main laptop, the power switch is located on the underneath here. I've got a little bit of styrofoam underneath the laptop, which elevates it up so none of the keys are depressed. The biggest problem here is that the ASUS battery is not easily removable. So yeah, you got to watch out for accidentally switching the damn thing on without any heat sinks and stuff on. But pretty much I'm impressed with the overall design and the usability of what I've been doing. It comes with 2 power cables that I must make sure that I've got power into both of them. And the most I've seen it draw, I think, was 160 watts of power. That's not too bad. Alright, so that we got everything in. We've got the 2 power supplies in. Power supplies have got power. I've got a handy power meter here, so we can actually see on the fly what the power draw is. So if you've got any questions regarding that, you feel free to ask. And the only modification, or the only thing I've done on the board, is on these chokes here I've added some heat sinks. Those 2 were the only 2 that actually got hot while I was running benchmarks. I put some heat sinks on them, and I've got basically little, just here off screen, I've got a little desk fan which just moves the air over them. As far as blue tile and insulation is concerned, I don't really care. The reason being is because I'm keeping it around dew point. I'm not letting it get back over dew point, so we shouldn't have condensation dripping off. The minute we do see condensation beading and running, that's session over. The reason for that is I've got to return this back to ASUS. It's not my sample to keep forever, unfortunately. So, and they didn't want me to slam Vaseline and everything all over it like I normally do. Okay, so with that being said, let's go and just make sure that the thing is actually working still, and power on. Alright, so first indicator that it's actually powered on is the LED starts blinking, and if I look under the desk, I see the ROG logo coming. So it's working. We've got fan 1 turning, fan 2 will start turning earlier, just now, not earlier, later, and we go from there. So we should get the windows. There we go. So we got the windows up and running, and I can switch to that. Alright, so there's the transition. Alright, so I've got Intel XTU installed, obviously, and unfortunately you're quite limited to the tools that you're provided with as far as overclocking on the laptop. Now, I could go into quite a little bit of depth on this, but it's not necessary. You are given access to GPU tweak for the 1080, which is quite nice, but then the application that ASUS give you is called Game Center. Now in Game Center you've got 2 basic profiles you can use for overclocking, and for everyday use I actually find these profiles to be pretty damn good. You've got Extreme and you've got Standard. So Extreme will give you 4.8 gig or 4800 megahertz, and Standard gives you 4400 megahertz. Pretty basic stuff, nothing too exciting there. What I want to do is I want to start getting access to some benchmarks. Now this Windows installation is also pretty shanked. When you reboot, you don't have any mouse right clicks or left clicks for about a minute and a half. It's a little frustrating, but the easiest way to, instead of reinstalling Windows, the easiest thing is just to wait, and then you can get access to it. Right, so what we need are benchmarks. Let's just have a look under apps. We should have PowerFast. We should have W Prime, Superpower. What else did we want to do? I don't feel like hacking Maxmem today. GPU power, don't feel like doing today. So let's just take those 3 for now. a new folder called apps. Then we need to get Cinebench. So under installs, we can go to Geekbench, no. GPU Tweak, no. I want Cinebench. Where's Cinebench? There we go. Cinebench. And then, what else did I say? Oh, we want to do CPU frequency. We can do that with CPU Z. And I think that should be pretty close to everything we can get done today, right? So, does anybody have any questions? Let's just quickly have a look at the chat. And no. Alright, so I'd like to say hello to everybody for tuning in. I am unable to see who just joined. Let me have a look in Twitch. No. Okie dokie. So. CPU getting a little toasty. 29 degrees. 61 degrees, yeah. So. I'm not terribly concerned about the CPU temperature because for the majority of the benchmarks under the extreme profile, you're running at 90 to 100 degrees. It's crazy, but yeah, thanks for pointing that out. So this is Gaming Center. Now you've got a little config option here. Now, if any of you know how, please tell me how this works, because I couldn't figure it out and I couldn't find any documentation online about how you actually go ahead and change voltages or anything here in Game Center. As far as I know, these buttons are pretty damn useless. The only thing we're able to change is the ratio, which to me is a little bit, yeah, not very user-friendly. We use XDU for everything else. What I did like about Gaming Center, it gave you access to all the ROG functionality right from one application. So you could go through and set your fan boost, you could set your RGB settings, you can do your game first and then your XSplit if you're then streaming via, if you want to stream your gaming, you've got that XSplit, and then your Sonic Radar, which I think's been banned in a couple of the online games and stuff like that, but I'm not too sure. I'm not going to comment about that. I just remember the ROG guys or the ASUS guys commenting about it at some point. So the software is pretty cool. For overclocking, yeah, it's a bit frustrating. The other cool thing, okay, I thought it was a bit gimmicky, but really a cool gimmick in Game Center was connecting it to your phone. Now basically, once you got it connected to your phone, and I tested this out just for interest's sake, was it gives you all the functionality of Game Center on your phone. So if you're in a game and you're wanting to set fan overboost on, no problem. You just set fan overboost on from your phone. That was pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But there again, it's for gamers. It's not for XOC. It's not for what I would typically do. Right? It's not. Yeah. I think that's the best way to explain it. Best way. Yeah. Sure. Hey Timothy, thanks for tuning in. How you doing, man? Okay. So, well, that's that done. Let's just have a quick squiz at what we've got. So I plan on doing Cinebench 11. Let's run a PowerFast. Run PowerFast. Let's do a superpower. Okay, and then let's do W prime. So that will give me some gold cups, hopefully. Let's see how far we can go. So, like I said, you can't do much in here as far as overclocking is concerned. So we just trash that. Oh, we're waiting for that to finish. Okay, never mind. And then we're going to XTU. Hey 360net, thanks for tuning in. How you doing? Alright, so I got the temperatures here. Unfortunately, I still can't get my overlaid live stuff to work properly. It keeps the Raspberry Pi keeps freezing. I hope to have that sorted out for you guys in the next couple of weeks. I don't know what the hell's going on. I need to just spend time on it again, and I haven't had a whole bunch of time to myself. So the temperatures I'll read out to you. Just drop me a comment on the chat if you're wanting to know exactly what the temperature is. So for the reading at the moment, I'll give you an update. On the GPU, I've got 17 degrees, and on the CPU, I've got 7 degrees. We really don't need to go terribly cold. The boost from going, from ambient temperature to minus 100 really didn't do much, because you're limited by the controls and the overclockability. Stupid things like, well, what we consider stupid things as extreme overclockers, is like your thermal throttling, or not your thermal throttling, your voltage, over voltage protection. So your voltage throttling, you can't disable that. So even though you're going cold and you can handle the voltage, you don't have control over removing that limitation. And for good measure, it is a gaming laptop, so you shouldn't be able to really, bypass some of these protections, because typically speaking, you won't be putting liquid nitrogen onto your gaming laptop. I mean, this warranty is so voided. I had to break about 6 stickers or warranty stickers to open it up and to get it to this point. So typically you won't be doing this, and you need to have that protection in as a manufacturer to make sure that your product doesn't go up in smoke, right? Okay, so I'm just waiting for Cinebench to extract. It's like pulling teeth, yeah, right? So painful, and I'm rambling on and hurting your ears. I'll get to some action shortly, just give me a minute. Hey PKK Shadow, thanks for tuning in. Right, so let's just have a look. What else do we have on this drive? So 3D Mark, Afterburner, Geekbench. I should actually do Geekbench at some point, but I need a better window for that. PC Mark, Real Bench. Okay. And then let's just quickly have a look in here. And I think that's about all we need to do today. Let's open up CPU-Z while we wait for this to finish. Give you guys a quick tour of what's going on. All right. So the dew point in Johannesburg at the moment is around 1 degree, minus 1 degree, around there. So when we have a constant temperature of -1 to 1 degree, that's when we're going to start getting some condensation. We just got to watch that, because I remind you, I don't have any insulation on this board, because we have to return it in a decent state. So having a quick look at CPU-Z, the first little bit of interesting info is it's a Coffee Lake CPU, Intel Core i9-8950HK, so that's the Extreme Edition. It is currently at 4.8 G, so in typical ROG fashion, we're a couple of point base clocks behind the actual true reading. Unfortunately, here we don't have the ability to change base clock, so it's very frustrating. We are stuck at 99.8. Other interesting, so we've got, it is a model G703GI. I have updated to the latest BIOS, and it is an HM370 chipset. So that is probably the biggest reason why I'm limited into some of the controls and some of the things we'd like to do as far as overclocking is concerned. Memory is a 2666 set, 64 gigs of it. There's 2 DIMMs. You can see them located here. Again, on the H chipset, I don't have any control over that. I did try and set some of the memory timings in XTU, and well, nothing but heartache. And there you can just see the basic different speeds. I would have really liked to have had more control. Being an unlocked processor, I would have liked to have seen some control over memory and stuff like that, but that's all typically a Z chipset type scenario. So George R15, I've already run R15. I can go through some screenshots for you guys. if you're interested. So there's XTU 2705. The current score on HWBot is 2700. Let's have a look at Cinebench. Cinebench 14. No, that's definitely not it. No, that's definitely not it. Those are my air scores. Wow, it looks like I have failed to save my Cinebench scores. So maybe we'll be doing Cinebench R15 as well today, because that is definitely not the score. That is definitely the air scores. All right. Well, looks like I made the classic mistake of sandbagging. You know, you think you've got everything bagged, and then you come to submit the scores and nothing's there, so you panic bench to try and get your scores. Yeah, okay, so I'll just check that out. I might have cut them off. Anyway, so yeah, I had the gold cup there. I don't know what I did with that score. Doesn't matter. We'll get it again. It's easy to get. Right. So I can't believe this thing is still damn extracting. Painful. All right. There we go. So before we get too carried away, let's just go ahead and we'll make sure that all of these run. You got to run this as administrator on Windows 10. So advanced 6 cores, 12 threads, so we can run it at 6 or we can run it at 12. We'll have to test both for efficiency. And that's just to get a baseline, make sure that the actual benchmark is running. I'm not going to run a 1024 superpower. Same thing, we're just going ahead and just run a 1M. Okay, power fast we must make sure works. And let's have a look at R11. Okay, we'll start with the difficult one, being R11 and R15. Our target for R11 is 15.8 points. It's quite a good little run, that. Let's just expand that and have a look at what we're up against. Alright, so Warboy is who I'm competing against. And yeah, that's really small. I can't read that. I can't read his screenshot. So he said at 4.6. Ah, okay. Well, yeah, there we go. At 4.8, I got 1602. So we've already got the gold cup there. But we're not just going to settle for that, are we? We're going to try and get it to do our 5G. I think I was able to run R15 at 5.1 or 5.2. Okay, let's go through the overclocking. Unfortunately, we have to use XTU for overclocking. It is the only way we can control certain things like our Turbo Boost Max and our Turbo Boost Power Max. It's the only place we can set that. And then we can also control things like our voltage offsets. I do find that when we get higher in the voltage, in the frequency, we need to do a negative offset. And that's purely because it's all about managing your current limit. Because on the laptop, we don't have any control over the current limit. And that is where our actual problems come in. And you'll notice that the minute I run XTU at a higher frequency, we hit the current limit throttling straight away, and then your score just goes to absolute poo. So you need to be in control over all of those factors. Now, we effectively remove the thermal throttling straight away because of the liquid nitrogen. But that's only one factor in our problems with this, with overclocking the laptop. So what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll just run at 4.9, and we'll just get a baseline at 4.9. We'll go up, you know, and then we'll see where we start crashing. Then we'll tweak the little voltages a bit and move on from there. So I'll leave XTU open, and then you can have a good look at what's actually going on, what the maximum core frequency is. It gives you a nice little overview. So, do we have any questions? Let's just have a look at that quickly. And right, no questions, just some comments. Right, so 1640, it's a nice little boost there. We didn't hit any sort of throttle, so we can just bump it up straight up to 5G, and we just run it again. So let's just actually move this so we can see it nicely. So the current temperature is -3 degrees. The current package temperature is 46 degrees. So that's really the difference. Now this is direct die as well, which I haven't had the most experience with because I haven't been able to afford the latest generation of processors on X299 platform. So I've been very scarce on that. It's really bothering me, and it looks like I'm not going to be able to afford the next gen of NVIDIA cards as well because, you know, I don't have anything to say about that. It's just that it's not within my budget. So we hit 5.1, and we're not going to change anything. What I hope you have been watching is your core voltage and how it's spiking, and then we need to watch the max core frequency, so as it goes from there. And we just run that, and package temperature, no problems, 50 degrees, all good. Alright, so we hit a blue screen there, typically. Yep, blue screen of death, right. So what we'll need to do now is completely power down the laptop and bring it back again. So that 51 with no current protection or no current tweaking, and I'm just going to modify that to what I have had experience with that worked. So unfortunately, like I said, you don't get to see the blue screen, and you don't get to see the post and all that sort of stuff. Not even the BIOS works when loading, so you'll just get the Windows screen. Alright. Okay, so again, we just now need to wait for XTU and all that sort of stuff to load. Okay, so quick question about how did I mount the pot. Right, well, what I did is I used some vinyl tape, and I used vinyl tape on top of the CPU and the board around the area just to raise it up to a level just below where the die is, and then it's really just rested, it's just sitting on. So to get that level mount, it's not actually fixed to anything, it's just resting on top. So I'm relying on the vinyl tape and the thermal grizzly to make sure that I'm not sitting skew or that I've got a good mount. It's not the most efficient way, but as I've said already and as we've discovered, you don't need to have the best of mounts and the best of cooling, because it's not our limiting factor. The cooling is not our limiting factor in how we're able to overclock this at all. Right, so let's get back to where we were. All controlled, I agree. First thing we want to do now is get back to our unlimited and unlimited. Okay, and we're going to set the core voltage offset back to -25, and then set our multiplier to 51. So that's basically where we were. Let's see if we can run R11, sorry, at that setting. So you can see I'm double clicking here, it's not doing anything, so it's still in stupid mode. This Windows is not very clean. It's got a bit of a booting issue. It takes some time for the desktop to be responsive after boot. I really need to, I really should, if I needed greater efficiency, I would reinstall, but I'm not terribly concerned about that. So we were about 1/4 of the way in when we blue screened, and what I'm going to do is just get down to say -10, which won't be terribly hard to do, and then we'll hit run. Yeah, unlock bias is exactly what we need in order to really push this thing much further. I do agree with you 110%. So we are at -6 degrees. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the run now. And did we blue screen straight away? Okay, we froze. Okay, so -25 did not work for R11, which worked for R15. So we'll boot back in again and give it another try. Would be interested to see how you bench on a Clevo laptop with a desktop CPU. Well, I'm happy to try it if I can get my hands on one. Can you show the cam of the top view full screen? I can show the cam top view full screen. Sorry, Timothy, I didn't see that question. And if we just go into modding, okay, let me go to editor where I can see my studio view and I can do the transition. Alright, so there we go. So as I was explaining, just the CPU and the video card with the thermal tape. Here's a vinyl tape. It's just stock standard 3M vinyl plastic electrical tape. Nothing very terribly fancy. You don't have to use a vinyl. It's just what I was using. Right, so let's give this another whirl. We'll go back to the settings. Now I've tried -25, which might have been a little bit too much. We'll try -10 and see if we can run 51 then. Right, so if you disable any of the turbo boost technologies here, you go back to your 29 multiplier, your max non-turbo boosts. For R11 I might very well have to add some voltages. Actually, let's try adding before I go with removing again. I wasn't watching terribly closely what the core voltage was when it blue screened. Okay, so we are now at -10, more than enough cold, I'm telling you now. Just a little bit of cold there for the VGA. Did we click apply? We must have clicked apply. Let's just hit that run there. Okay, we're getting up to 5.1, 3.9, 1.45 volts. Okay, so that's a 5.1. What we'll do, just for nice round numbers, I like that number, 1700, we'll just go ahead and save that screenshot. Yeah, so the pots I'm using on the CPU, I'm just using the DeBauer Beast without the top or anything like that. Just what I was using the Rocket from Kingpin, but the holes are too small, so nitrogen was splashing everywhere. At least with this I can keep it contained. And then on here I'm using the FOST, the Gemini, the FOST base. It's really just for containing that nitrogen. So for HWBot we're going to need to just open up all the screens. And mainboard. Okay, so that should be sufficient. Let me just save the screenshot there. You can see that. I think that's everything we need. So I'm almost sure that if I bump it up to 5.2 and run it, it's going to crash. So this is the theoretical maximum I could run CPU intensive benchmarks. 5.1. I need to just check my screenshot, but I'm pretty sure 5.1 was the max. And the reason being is because I can't pump much more voltage into it. The minute I try and push more current via the offsets or a fixed voltage, you just start hitting that current limit throttling, and it's pointless. So let's go ahead and change the priority for Cinebench. Come here and we go Cinebench, properties. No, where was it again? Jeez, how long has it been since I've done this? Gee, my brain has honestly gone blank. What was it called again? Cinema 3D. No, it's not there. Startup user details. Here we go. Was it here? Cinebench. There we go. Priority. Set real time. Change priority. Yo, that's been a while since I've done that. That's a bit embarrassing. Okay, and we just try and run that again. So you won't see any movement on the screen. Right. Windows will seem like it's crashed. Just hang tight and wait to see what it's doing. Okay, then maybe that did crash. And I can't see anything on the screen, but yeah, it crashed. Okay, so it's rebooting. Alright, well, let's stop playing with that. Let's get on to something else. Okay, so you can have a good look at me having a look at the main screen, I suppose. I just noticed it's got quite a wide angle view on today. Alright, so let's get back into it. So what we're going to do next, let's try and see what we can do with CPU frequency. So we can't disable cores, which is what we'd need to do typically. We can, I wonder, what's going to be the best for us now. We can pump up the voltage, which is not going to be necessary. Essentially what we need to do is we need to disable cores, which we can't do. Let's just get all this going again. Let's open up CPU-Z. Okay, let's transition that. Okay, so I haven't really given this a try yet, and I haven't really. Now I was blue screening, I think, when I applied 2.5.2 before. But what we can try and do is we can try and get a little bit cray and just apply as a reboot. Why does it want to reboot now? You see, now this is the other problem we have with XTU, that now if we click anything it's going to want to reboot, which is silly because we haven't set anything, right? Oh, well, we have set something. Here we go. Okay. And when you reboot, half the settings don't apply and it's just a waste of time. It's quite frustrating. So we'll try pumping that up just slightly. No, I don't want to reboot. Bugger off. Okay, I don't know why it's not being retarded. Okay, so we've got the voltage set up a little bit. Now we'll just check the cold a little bit. And what I'm going to want to do is we can just go up to 5.1 because we know 5.1 is cool. Okay, we need to get up 2 more settings. So if we, you know what we could maybe try and do? We could maybe try and set this all down. In fact, hold on. Yeah, I just had an idea. Okay, we set that all to 45, right? Then we can just set the one up because we don't really care what the others are at as long as we just got one that's reporting correct, right? And oh, painful. Speed step. Okay, so let's try. Okay, so it's now reporting the slowest one. Okay, so that's a bit of a fail. That didn't work. It's all over the place. That's crazy. We can try and set we can try and set no, okay. Scratch that idea, didn't work, never mind. So we're going to need to set all the cores up. Okay, then we're getting, yeah, okay. So, does anybody have any questions? Windows power to max, yeah, pretty sure I set that. But maybe not. Windows power to max. No, you don't get max power on the stupid thing. I remember that. Let's go to power. If you have a look at the power options here, you don't get a power option. So I actually need to have a look. Hold on, while I'm here. I do remember. Maybe I've got it on here. There. Okay, hold on. I need to actually add that power profile somehow into Windows. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to comment about that. Windows 10 Media Feature Pack, no. I've got a script for Windows that basically sets everything nicely. Yeah, I think this is it here. Okay, so we can try and run that. But I don't really want to break this Windows installation just yet. Okay, so we'll come back to CPU frequency. Let's just go ahead and see where we're going to crash out now. Just at the stock settings. No, there's no water in the USB. It's the USB software was having a little bit of a song and dance there. Yeah, I'm not going to say too much. Okay, so there is 5.3. We can do validation there. What are we chasing? Okay, we crashed on the validation file. So for CPU-Z validation, we were chasing 5.3. Or when I say 5.3, we're chasing 5284.4. So it's pretty much 53 multiplier. And then we just have to get lucky with the F7. On the bounce, right? Let's just get a little more nitrogen. Okie dokie, back into wind blows. Just to let you know, unfortunately, we're down to the last liter. So it's quite alright because I've got quite a good pile of condensation forming on the pot itself, and the minute I start noticing any sort of dew forming on the board or stuff like that, it's an emergency session end, right? I can't afford to kill this board. It's cost more than the car. It is the single most expensive piece of tech I've had in the OC lab. So right, we can go back here. Let's stop mucking about with the boring CPU benchmark. Let's go and see what we can do as far as power fast is concerned, right? We don't have any targets there. It's an empty benchmark. Oh no, power fast, we've got 14 seconds and 444 milliseconds. That was run, I'll tell you now. Let's just close this. Okay, Wallboy's power fast as well at 4.5, so we're not going to have a major problem beating it. Okay, so we scored 12.18 seconds, and that's a good little up from his 14. We'll try 5.2 and run again. Temperature is currently -5. Okay, 12.64. What was the first one? 12.8. A nice little bump. Just for laughs. We can try and increase that. Oh, no, we crashed. No? Okay. XTU has crashed. So let's just run and get a... Oh, we've crashed. Okay. I was going to say let's just run and get a screenshot, but that's not going to happen. Oh. Okay. It's a crash. I'm just going to go quiet and hard reset. Okay. Everything still looks good. Yeah, increasing voltage probably will help. I agree with you, George. We're going to tinker a bit now. Each benchmark is considerably different as far as how it's going to react on this processor and on this configuration. We're going to have to throw the rules out of the window for each one and go through a full bank of testing. Unfortunately, because the stupid windows and the amount of time it takes to get back in, it can get a little bit frustrating to go through the motions each time, right? Alright, let's go ahead and increase that to 52. We'll try putting an offset. We'll try and increase that offset a little bit. And let's try and get a power fast run. Yes, 12:55. We'll save the score. Keep. We've at least got it, and if we crash out, we don't have to run it again. Alrighty. So, what else can I say that I really liked about this motherboard that I haven't said about this laptop? I haven't said already. It does come with two M.2s in a RAID 0 configuration, so it's quite quick on that. You do get a nice set of headphones, a nice mouse that come with it. It's all RGB Aura synced. It's quite lacquer if you're into that type of thing, of course. RGB for gamers is pretty cool. RGB for normal people. Okay, right, so let's stop rambling. Yeah, it does have 3 slots. So if we have a look, let me quickly change. So let me change the view. So it does have 3 slots, right? You've got a slot on this side of the board here, M.2, and then you've got 2 over here. So what I was actually saying is it comes with 2 drives as default, with a spare slot on this side here. It also comes with a 2 terabyte mechanical drive, or at least a sample I've got. It's got a 2 terabyte mechanical drive, and yeah, it's a really nice setup. It's just it is a bulky beast. Don't get me wrong. It's quite a big laptop. If you were planning on doing a long haul flight, you might actually struggle with it on your back going through the airport. Okay, so we hit 5.3 there and we crashed out again. It's a blue screen. Right. SSHD, let me just check. I don't think it's SSHD. I think it's just straight up mechanical drive. It's a Fire CUDA, so no, I don't think it's SSHD. Just 2 terabyte. Look, this is the GI model, 703GI. I think there are a couple of different models. Maybe, you know, maybe the different models come with different drives and stuff like that. I'm not terribly sure. Oh, does it have? Okay. Well, you've now taught me something new. Fire CUDA. I didn't know that that had SSD in it as well. SSD cache in it. Sorry. Okay, so I'm going to leave PowerFost at that. I think we did pretty well there. That's the gold cup anyway, so that's all we really wanted to achieve. We beat Warboy's PowerFost quite considerably. Not that it's comparable really, because I'm not using the stock cooling. Let's just get through the next one. So we hit SuperPower 1M. I'm quite happy with those 5.2s. Seems to be working fairly well. I'm not going to change the voltages unless we need to. The score is going to be really terrible with XTU and all that sort of stuff open without running without the right operating system or that sort of hoo-ha, but right, we're not competing against anybody, so let's just do what we can do at 5.2 and be done with it, right? And 7 seconds, we've got nothing to compare it against. I am the first person to run SuperPower on this processor. Let's just save the screenshot and we can move on to 32M. Might take a little bit too long to run. I don't know, let's run W prime first. Why did I click it? And did we blue screen? And we blue screened. Alright. So maybe a little bit of cold there. I wonder. At -9 under no load. Blue screen again. we'll check that. Right, so let's have a look what's going on in the chat. Laptop and two bench. Yep. I mean, who could say no to the opportunity to testing this, right? And to doing this, and it's pretty awesome. Okay, so first things first, I need to keep an eye on the video cards running at 30 degrees. It's not bad. I mean, most video cards run at about that. And the CPU is now at 6. We did a 1M, so let's just go ahead and get all of this done again. Alright, so let's run W prime at 51. We'll run a long one and a short one and then save the benchmark, then we'll come back to 32M, and then I think we'll be out of nitrogen. Oh, we must run a R15 again. I need to have a look at that score that we need there as well. Okay, so we run W prime, long one, short one, and then R15. Run virtual cores? I think so, yeah. I'm not terrible, I can't remember. When has anybody run W prime recently? Do you do it by virtual cores or to physical cores? I can't remember. Okay, there's current limit throttling. So 3.7. So Troutman, you asked how did I insulate? Well, I didn't insulate. That's the complication I have. Got to keep a close eye on it. I just used a little bit of vinyl tape just to help with the mount, but I didn't insulate. So we can't have condensation spreading on the board. That's just a big no-no. So I've got to keep a close eye on it, and you know, take it from there. Okay, so I just reduced the voltage a bit there. That took away our current limit throttling, and we got a slightly better score. So we'll just check that out. 3.6. Again, we're not chasing anybody, so yeah, I agree. So save it and move on, right? I'm not terribly concerned. I think we will run a 1024 just to get the gold and move on. It shouldn't run too long, I don't think. It's a 6-core 12-thread processor, so it'll be what, around 2000 or 200 seconds, 224 seconds, around there. Isn't that what you're getting on the 6700K? Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's move on. So we'll get the next gold, take the screenshot, and we're going to move on to R15. So R15, I had to work a little bit harder to get that gold, or at least I've done it before, so I know we can do it. The LN2 really helped. So we're halfway. Okay, so it'll be about 180 seconds. Yeah, around there. What is the time? We're also running short on time. No, actually 17. So no, that's fine. We're running fine on time. No, we are running short on time. Hot past 5. Yeah, we're running short on time. It's 5:45 already. Okay, so we'll go ahead and save that. I was well off of my expectations on time. I'm supposed to fetch my daughter from my mother at 5:30. It's already 5:45. So I am running late. But we'll just get these last scores done. Alright, motherboard, memory, SPD. And we'll just save that. Okay, that's done. Close that. Right, so Cinebench R15. I've got problems here. We have water now forming on the pot, and we're just going to make sure it doesn't bead down, which it has sort of. Okay, very quickly, let's get the pot cooled again. Okay, and let's just run. No, okay. So that was a blue screen, and yeah, you see that the towel has gone a darker shade. That's actually water that is now forming at the base of the pot. So I'm going to give it one quick try. I should have frozen the water now with the temperature, but no, okay. Alright, we're not going to run Cinebench. We're not going to run Cinebench. I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to take the power off on this because we've got a little bead of water down the bottom here, and it's not a great idea. Yeah. Okay, no, sorry, I'm pulling the plug. Alright guys, so I'm going to just pull the plug on that quickly. I'll switch the view. So basically you can see here on the paper towel, I'm just pushing it down where I've got the vinyl, and that's definitely water there. So first thing we're going to do is shut windows down. I'm going to have to boot back in. What an idiot. Okay. Laptops in their bloody hibernate. No. The reason why I say no, it's not possible to have a longer session with Need Eraser, because the problem's actually underneath the board, not so much around here as well. You know, if I'm getting condensation forming on the board on the top, it means you're more than likely going to have condensation underneath. So because I'm not taking out the whole, I'm not taking everything apart, I'm not taking everything out, right? I've got to make sure that I'm not having a risk of condensation anywhere, on the top, on the bottom, running off from the pot. So I use it as a precaution to keep the board alive without having to strip everything out, to just keep an eye on it, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly, because the cold will travel through the processor, through the board to the other side, and I don't have the ability to monitor what's happening on the other side, so I have to monitor what's happening on this side. Right, so that's just our video card, and then we'll just remove that. And so if I can show you on the pot here, you can clearly see we've got a nice bit of ice that has formed around there. Now that's purely from the runoff, but you stand the risk of the cold going through. So I've got to make sure that the minute I start seeing stuff like that, I just call it a day, and rather just wait until everything's at a good time to remove any moisture content that's there. And you know, technology doesn't mind the cold, it doesn't mind ice, but it does mind water, and it does, especially, you know, on the chokes here. If you get some water in between the chokes and make contact on both sides, forget it, you're going to fry the whole board. And I don't have the cash to replace this board. So what I'll do now is I'll leave the fan that I've got running over here. I'll just leave this fan blowing some air over the board. That's going to help remove some of the moisture. I've also got a dehumidifier running in the OC lab at the moment, so that it's, you know, it's just taking that moisture out. So we can do a quick Q&A. So any chance to take out the whole motherboard? Sure. I mean, yeah, no problem. We can take out the whole motherboard. The problem, well, yeah, we can do it. Do I want to do it? No, not necessarily, because it's a whole house full of work to disconnect the battery, to disconnect all the ribbon, to disconnect everything into the, no, it's just, to me, it's just too much work. So if this was going to be a permanent setup and I had a whole lot more control and I needed to get to go colder and to run for longer, then I would consider taking it out and really pushing it to the extreme. But because I'm so limited by the functionality and the controls I have already, you know, there's no real point in stripping things out too far and to taking it to the extreme. Right, so here I'm back here now. Okay, so that is my reasoning why you know, we're not going to strip the whole thing out. It's just, it's far too much risk and it's far too much work to return something working and getting all the screws back and all the connectors back in the right places for very little gain, or just to run longer sessions, right? I can rather do 4 or 5 smaller, shorter sessions and do it properly and with less effort than to do it long. So we've got another question. What PSU is that there? I want to just point it out. Let's just change the view. Right, so if we transition back to my top down view, so are you talking about the PSU here that we're sitting on? This is my trusty AX 1500i, the Overclocker Elite Edition that's got the OCP removed. So that's my go-to OC Lab power supply, yeah. When I need to back that power supply up, I am using the High Current Pro 1300, the ones that we used in Thailand last year for GOC finals. Okay, so let's just transition back. Right, so yeah, I will go ahead and post up these scores. What I'll do is I'll probably need to get more nitrogen to do another session. This was the last liter. I've got it pouring about half of it back. It will more than likely evaporate unless I can do a quick session tomorrow. Now I'm playing golf tomorrow, so there'll be no overclocking tomorrow because I'm playing golf. So maybe Thursday, if there's still nitrogen, I'll do another quick session and just finish off the benchmarks that we needed to do. Hoping GOC won't be too pricey to enter this year. Yeah, so I was thinking about GOC. Mad did post up some stuff on his Facebook yesterday saying that he's not answering questions about GOC and all that sort of stuff. With the launch of the 2080 Ti, I'm guessing you're going to need a 2080 Ti. You're going to need the new memory that he'll bin for the event. So already the memory is probably going to be $300-400. The 2080 Ti GOC edition will probably be $1,500. So to take part in GOC, I reckon it's going to be $3,000 worth of video cards, two 2080s probably, and then maybe 2 memory kits. So you're looking at $4,000 or $5,000 just to qualify. It's a bit steep, to be honest, but we'll see. Maybe they'll come in with a 1060 again, which would be pretty cool. I'd much rather qualify on a lower end card and use the bigger card during the competition, because I always suck in the competition anyway, so what point is it? So have more fun qualifying and then just go there to experience the trip. So that would be, but then again, my son is going to be born in 23 days time, so the qualifiers come in a bad time for me personally as well. Maybe this year is one to skip, but for your, I really hope that you decide to take part, George. It'll be good. Okay, so we got another question. Where would you even buy the bin memory? Right, so Galax is pretty good with the GOC guys. Every year for the qualifiers on the Galax store, directly from the manufacturer, you can buy the hardware you need to qualify. So that's the memory, bin memory. It is a bit of luck of draw. So for instance, year before last, Vivi and myself both bought the hardware to qualify. Exactly the same kits of memory. His wouldn't do, the high frequency for SuperPower 32M, and one of my kits would. My second kit was worse than my first. It's a luck of draw. That's why I say you need to buy 2 video cards to qualify, and you need to buy 2 kits of memory, because you've got to take that luck factor out of the equation and try to even the odds. All right, so yeah, you bought a couple of Galax Hall of Fame 4000s and it can't do much at all. Yeah, so the B-down memory is a real pain in the rectum, the rear end. My personal experience, I haven't even tested the memory we got at GOC last year. It's still sitting here. Yeah, it's still sitting in the packaging from when I got off the plane. Basically, I haven't even looked at it. I just haven't had time. So the Galaxy memory and B-die in general is very fussy. So you've got to get those temperatures right. That's what I found with my good set of B-dies. I really had to stay within 1 degree from to get my best score. And I've got a video of me doing it somewhere as well. It's really not easy. I take my hat off to all these guys that are constantly, you know, finding these super bin B-die kits, because it's not easy. It really isn't easy, to be honest. Okay, so guys, I think that's about it. Let's wrap this one up. Let me know what you think about the new camera. What you're seeing now is on my new camera. It's a little treat to myself in preparation for a couple of things coming up in real life. Also the new stream layout. I think this is the first time that I'm coming with the white stream layout. Just the telemetry is not working. We'll see what we can do with that. Let me know if there's anything in particular, anything crazy you'd like me to do on the stream. I'm always looking for some new ideas. Life is a bit hectic at the moment, but I do still want to just get back into the routine of getting more streams done. So just drop me a message. You can hit me on Facebook. Don't forget to like or share or do all that sort of stuff. And you can direct message me on Discord as well. I think the Discord link is somewhere around just somewhere. If not, I'll post it underneath the archive of this video. Yeah, guys, so thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys and the interaction. I do like to have my sessions all interactive. I like to engage with all of you, right? So without further ado, and we'll go ahead and say thanks for tuning in. Until next time, happy benching. Right, so let's put the end screen up. Thank you very much. Alright guys, so cheers for now.